Today, Bitcoin climbs to its highest level since late February. Robinhood's earnings report reveals crypto revenue jumped 100% from the year before, and Alisia Painter of Botanix Labs breaks down what's driving the price of Bitcoin right now. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Ryan Baker. Major cryptocurrencies in the green today as we kick off the month of May. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin climbed 3% to just under $97,000 after crossing that mark earlier this morning, reaching its highest level since late February. Ether rose 5% and XRP climbed more than 3.5%. Both crypto and stocks traded higher as of midday on strong tech earnings. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Robinhood's first quarter profit more than doubled, and the firm's transaction-based revenue, which includes crypto trading, rose nearly 80% from the year before. That's according to the retail trading platform's earnings report, which dropped yesterday after the closing bell. In it, the company revealed that most of those transaction-based gains came from a 100% jump in crypto trading activity from the year before. This came as Bitcoin dropped from the highs seen in the quarter before and faced a volatile few months amid President Trump's trade policy announcements, which triggered turbulence across asset classes. That benefited platforms like Robinhood by boosting trading activity. As of noon, shares of the company dropped just under 2%. Next, Visa continues to expand its crypto offerings through new partnerships, this time with a focus on stablecoins. One of those new partnerships is with crypto payments platform Banks, aimed at allowing US customers to spend Circle's USDC from their crypto wallets. Another new partnership is with stablecoin-focused firm Bridge. Yesterday, Visa announced that the collaboration would offer stablecoin-linked cards to customers in Latin America. As of noon, Visa shares dropped slightly, by under 1%. Sticking with payment processors, earlier this week, MasterCard announced a partnership with another payment processor and crypto exchange OKX to power stablecoin transactions. Last, UK crypto and fintech firms are expressing concern over losing entrepreneurs to competing jurisdictions. Several crypto executives told CNBC that the UK has created an unfavorable environment for those sectors. In regards to stablecoins, Clearbank's CEO told CNBC that the company wishes to develop one, but regulatory clarity is needed. Meanwhile, Coinbase's UK head points to debanking as an issue, claiming individuals or businesses who work in crypto can't get bank accounts. All this comes amid a dramatic shift in crypto regulation here in the US, with a more welcoming Congress and SEC, which dropped several cases and investigations put forward during prior leadership. Ripple's managing director for UK and Europe argues that the US is driving global tailwinds for the industry, and also points to regulatory advancements in Singapore, Hong Kong, the UAE, and the EU, with its newly implemented framework, MiCA. Alright, back to markets for our main story. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan spoke with Alisia Painter, co-founder of Bitcoin-based blockchain Botanix Labs, about last month's performance of the cryptocurrency and what we can expect this month.
As we kick off the month of May today, I want to start off by taking a look back at last month and the wild ride we saw for both crypto and stocks amid all the tariff-related headlines. Bitcoin was pretty resilient compared to the huge losses on Wall Street in the wake of that tariff-related uncertainty. And it's interesting because those big swings in the major stock indices we saw last month is something traders are more used to seeing with crypto. What does all of that signal to you?
It's super interesting. What we've actually observed at Botanix Labs is that Bitcoin, which is what we're in the business of, has really decoupled from equities as well as other cryptocurrencies. It's really exhibiting behavior that's more similar to digital gold, which is why when you look at that performance, it is actually more close to gold than equities and other cryptocurrencies. And that really means that people are using it as kind of this hedge or this bet against the volatility. So Bitcoin has not only outperformed all of these other sectors, but the implied volatility has also gone down across the board and compared to NASDAQ and the S&P. And that shows that, with all of this uncertainty in the market, people are really looking at what are the other alternative assets that they could look to invest in as a hedge. And Bitcoin is emerging as the natural contender, one, because of the broad adoption that has already occurred, and two, because the ETFs have provided this ideal entry vehicle for any retail investor to come in and have exposure. And that is why you're seeing Bitcoin really being this resilient asset in the global landscape.
So, looking ahead, what can we expect as it relates to crypto markets this month? Do you think Bitcoin will stay pretty stable even with all the tariff related headlines and new economic data? I mean, just yesterday it was revealed that the US economy contracted in the first quarter, largely due to a surge in imports ahead of President Trump's tariffs. And we saw major cryptocurrencies trade lower along with broader markets immediately following that news. But then today, crypto and stocks traded higher on positive big tech earnings. So, do you expect we will see this correlation continue, or do you think we'll see a break in that correlation, like you mentioned, like we have been experiencing recently?
I think when it comes to Bitcoin price, what we're seeing in Botanix is that it's really going to continue surging past the 100K mark. In fact, with all of the uncertainty you're seeing within equities and with tariffs and what that's bringing in, the likely impact is going to be some measure of quantitative easing. And that historically has done very well for crypto. You see a migration of assets into Bitcoin and other crypto assets. So I predict that the decoupling of Bitcoin is going to continue from the broader market and is going to hit the 100K mark and probably beyond as we continue to see that migration occur. And I think it's going to also bleed over into the rest of crypto. Naturally, what happens is Bitcoin is the leading indicator when it comes to price action within crypto, and then the rest of the market follows. So that's what we're seeing here is a rebounding of Bitcoin that's probably going to then flow into the rest of the crypto market.
So you mentioned a price forecast for Bitcoin. As of noon, the cryptocurrency hit a high today of more than $97,000, its highest level since the end of February. Do you think Bitcoin can reach those highs we saw immediately following the presidential election? On Inauguration Day, Bitcoin reached a new record of more than $109,000. Do you think we could see that again in the near future? And if so, what would it take?
That's a great question. I think that Bitcoin, it's really hard to predict the price of Bitcoin. We think that it's going to keep increasing commensurate with the growth it's already been experiencing. What it would take in order to get it there is several factors. I mean, one is increased regulatory clarity around Bitcoin. So there's now this argument around Bitcoin staking and being able to recognize that. I think more further clarity around the regulatory component would definitely help get it there. The second is obviously the increased ETF inflows, which I expect to continue increasing with the uncertainty that we see in the rest of the market. And third is more Bitcoin activity and Bitcoin utility. So what we're seeing in Botanix Labs is that a lot of people are looking to do more with their Bitcoin, right? It's one thing to hold your Bitcoin, but then it's actually a monetary instrument. You can actually do a lot more with it, right? You can earn yield, you can stake, you can lend, borrow, trade against it. And so as more and more of that activity comes to Bitcoin, and we're trying to help propel that with Botanix, that's where we see the real price growth coming from. So a combination of these factors will likely get it there, and as well as increased retail sentiment of Bitcoin as this hedge against broader macroeconomic uncertainty. So yeah, that's the confluence of factors that I see really impacting Bitcoin and helping propel it forward.
I want to focus on the topic of politics. What would you say has changed for crypto since President Trump kicked off his second term in office? I mean, yesterday, the president hit the 100-day mark in office. And during those first 100 days, we saw a slew of crypto related actions from the White House, including the formation of a crypto task force and executive orders related to digital assets. We also saw a more crypto friendly stance from agencies like the SEC, as several lawsuits and investigations against crypto companies were dropped, resolved, or put on hold. So I'm curious what you think about all of this. How would you rate President Trump's first 100 days in office as it relates to digital assets? And do you think crypto sentiment has changed?
That's a great question. So at Botanix, what we've really seen is that it's been highly favorable to be in Bitcoin and to be in crypto since the election of President Trump. So it's been very, very good for us from several perspectives. One is there's a renewed vigor and enthusiasm about onshoring crypto back to the United States. So what we've seen, over the past two presidential terms, right, with significant curtailing of crypto in the United States is a lot of crypto and a lot of Bitcoin has moved offshore. So we're seeing the onshoring of crypto and Bitcoin back to the United States, and that's been enormously positive. Institutional and TradFi is also really excited to start experimenting and innovating with Bitcoin because they have this sandbox now to play and to experiment and to innovate with digital assets, with tokenization, with using crypto as a base settlement layer for finance. And so that playbox environment that we have now is the ideal environment to be building in. So as a builder, it's been great. And we're also seeing interest from our customers, from institutions to do more within crypto. I think one thing that we could benefit from further from the administration and from President Trump is further clarity around the regulations. So right now, it still feels like the broad thesis is crypto is good, let's do more within crypto, but we need more specificity. So if you look at the EU, if you look at the UAE, they've done a really good job of being very clear and specific about crypto regulation. And I think we have this term to really set those guidelines in place to make sure that the United States continues to be, the place for Bitcoin and for crypto to really thrive.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.